All right, let's do it live on a Tuesday edition of the program. Merely Bo, the great Z. Quiet weekend for you, right?
Yeah, not much going on, brother.
Look at you, the champion.
It
all happened.
It all happened. It was
just from afar. Gibby and I talked about it yesterday.
I heard you guys did. Thank you. I can't wait to listen to that.
We talked about it yesterday.
It's on my DVR.
And I bet it is.
It is, actually.
But it was one of those things from afar, knowing how much this has been a part of your life, to get to truly live out a dream in a way that you, I'm sure, had never thought possible.
It's very well said and very accurate. It literally, when we kind of conceived of the idea and what was going to happen, I got very excited. And as I do with everything, I take things very, very seriously, and I prepared my butt off. But, the idea that I would wrestle a match in my life was very far-fetched.
Right.
The idea that I would be in the ring with a 2-time Hall of Famer, 12-time world champion, living legend, a guy who's been in the business for 37 years in Jeff Jarrett, that's who I would be starting off and squaring off with the ring, that I'd be in there with a giant, 7'4", 420 pounds, legit, Satnam Singh. I would be body slammed by a giant. Mm-hmm. I would be nearly decapitated with a clothesline by a giant. That it was wild. And then with members only, 2 young guys who wanted it and had a chance to kind of, really be in the spotlight. And I don't like them, but I do respect them now. And they gave me a wicked 3D. Like, that was gnarly. I have a few.
Oh boy, look at that shot there.
A few bumps and bruises. Let me get in the
that's a pretty solid for those watching on the YouTube. That's a pretty good.
I got some stuff across here, some stuff.
I bet you do.
I got quite a bit going on, but it was, it was a dream come true, and it was awesome, and everybody involved couldn't have been better, and it couldn't have gone any better. I'm so thankful for AIW. For John Thorne for letting me do this, and for Wadsworth on commentary, my teammates Josh Bishop, Tom Lawler, Hardway Holloway. It was surreal. I have my oldest friend in the world who's in studio with us right now, Vince County, flew in from California. I had people flying from Georgia, Florida, New York. Like, there were a lot of people there. Gibbe was in the house.
He's in the mix.
There were a ton.
He put out a triumphant photo of you.
I know. It was very nice of him.
Quite triumphant of you.
It was
probably
quite
the
nice.
nicest thing he's ever done.
Probably, yeah. And it means a lot, because I know that it's like when I got a text from my dad that night. My dad watched it.
Okay.
And he was like, "Wow." He goes, "You were great." He goes, "That was so entertaining." He watched it. He's like, "I watched it twice."
That's amazing.
I love. And I'm like,
so he came around.
So I was like, if my dad said I did a good job, then I know it was pretty good. But it was very cool after, and I don't want to peel back the curtain too much, but it was. My goal in doing this was obviously, 1, to live out the dream, 2, to see, like, could I do it? Could I stand there and take a guitar shot? Could I stand there and have a giant clothesline me? Could I take the physicality of the match and survive it all? Because anybody out there who wants to say wrestling is fake is look at my body. Yeah. And I wasn't in a hardcore match. I was jumping off ladders and things like that, but it is very physical, and it's what I think is so special about it is, and I wanted to just put in the work, take it seriously, and show the respect to a business that has given me such joy in my life, and the respect I have for everybody who is in there that is making their living doing it. And I think it was awesome. I got a shout out to Global WrestleWear, a guy who made my gear. He makes gear for
stuff was unbelievable.
He makes gear for Broski, for Matt Cardona, for AJ Styles, lots of guys in the WWE and AEW. Mm-hmm. I definitely my top definitely had an AJ Styles vibe to it, and you might see why it probably was an AJ Styles prototype that ended up being mine, but it was magical, man. And to share that with my family and my kids being there, and they were so proud, and my mom was there, and Kayla and all my friends. It was pretty wild, dude. It was like, it's one of those highs that is tough to put into words.
We've reached an age, men in our 40s, where these type of things, in most instances, you resign to the fact that you're not going to have these things anymore. Like, there was a point where, and whatever you do, I mean, you've talked about playing, flag football in Atlanta
Yeah.
or whatever athletic thing that you did, pick up basketball, whatever.
Sure.
And it doesn't really matter. People will scoff, oh, pick up basketball, city league, whatever. Like, to get competitive juices full flowing is something that we chase for a long time. But then you reach a point that outside of golf, pickleball, tennis, some things like that, you can try to get a little bit of that juice. But we've resigned to the fact that you're not going to anymore.
Yeah.
You reach an age. So at our age, to be able to have a moment like that is something that it's truly probably a once in a lifetime thing that happened. I do want to.
You'll be happy to know that I'm at the 99.999 hard 999% that's it.
I don't buy that. I think
No,
next summer I
no.
can see you right back in the mix.
It would have to be
right back in the
something
mix.
very unique or special with a friend.
How would you?
I wrestled a legend.
I understand, but you get the itch. You start to scratch. I can see it next summer.
If you would have seen me Sunday,
Just laid out. That's a bigger bruise than I.
useless.
So
I got bruises here.
This
I couldn't turn my
leads
head to my right on Sunday.
My next question: how would you like to address the fact that you, sir, are a liar? And here's what you lied about to me. You said Satnam Singh was not getting his hands on you, and he did more than get his hands on you.
So
I'll
be honest with
the
you.
hell out of you. You told me, you gave me your word that you would not be anywhere near him, that any sort of physicality would not happen.
I tried
And
every
he whipped
promo.
your
I
ass.
said, Satnam Singh, ignore this. I have no problem with you.
I'm looking Saturday night. I'm going, my God, what is going on? This was not in the brochure.
So this
is not what was supposed to happen.
This is one of those things where you're in the moment. And
Yeah.
I will say, one of the things that was wild to me is, Karen Jarrett slapped. I'm bruised on this side of she slapped the taste out of my mouth.
Yeah.
And it was. But when you're in there, it doesn't hurt. It's more like it stings and it
Adrenaline.
wakes you up. It's like you're like, oh yeah, all right,
right.
Like let's go. So the way that I ended up getting tangled in with Satnam Singh was I'd thrown 3 straight hip tosses, and then he comes over, steps over the top rope, and comes in. And at this point, I'm feeling
the top rope.
Steps over the top rope.
He doesn't need to go under it.
Nope, right on over it. And you're feeling pretty good about yourself, and you're like, let's go.
Okay.
And instead of running out of the ring, which I should have done, I did that. He comes in. I try to hip toss him. Doesn't budge. My back gives out. He clubs me, and the next thing I know, I'm 10 feet in the air.
That's right.
In his hands, and he slams me to the mat. Body slam me.
It's not in the brochure. Dude.
No. And then I think I'm going to win.
Yeah.
We get towards the finish. Karen Jarrett goes to slap me again. I duck. She hits Jeff Jarrett. Kick to the gut. Pull him in. I'm going to give him a razor's edge. And then I feel I can't even say a hand. I don't even know what. A paw grabs me, turns me around. He grabs my right wrist. I'm looking at him. He pushes me away from him so that he can then pull me back. And he absolutely, Stiffy McGee crushed me with a clothesline.
Yeah.
Crushed me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went from looking up being like, oh my God, I think this is going to happen.
Yeah.
To being on the ground with my legs over my head, being like, how did I even get here? Like what? Just, it felt like he knocked like my chest like out my back, but then I was already on the ground and my legs. So I was like, I don't even know. Like, am I okay? Am I alive?
What hurt the most Sunday?
Sunday, I actually couldn't turn my head this way at all. So that was concerning.
Sure.
It was basically this region, and we knew it Saturday night too. When we went out afterwards, had a great time. But basically, from like the middle of my head through this to here I knew there was something wrong, but it wasn't serious.
Was there which maneuver caused that type of pain?
I think the 3D. So the 3D at the end, Calvin G. Lewis put a little sauce on that. There was a little
extra
stank
taste
on that. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he got me hooked and he brought me down good, and I kind of landed like half on his shoulder, half on the mat, and I knew that hurt a great deal in the moment. And pretty much nothing else really hurt in the moment. when Jarrett was stomping me, giving me the Ronnie Garvin stomps, those hurt. He was those hurt quite a bit. But the 3D at the end, which hurt, but then I knew I was like, okay, I kicked out kind of on instinct. And then I was like, all right, I think I got a chance here. And then the next thing I knew is I thought I was going to be ended.
Yeah.
I'd already taken one guitar shot, but then they kicked me around and I was really kind of out of it. And I was on my knees, and then they both had guitars, both the members only. And then fortunately my guys Bishop and Lawler came in, took the guitars, smashed them. So I got up and he kind of turned around, boom, rock bottom. 1, 2, 3, baby.
So cool. So cool. Happy for you, buddy. Thrilled for you. It was, I can't imagine it was like doing it, living it, and playing it out and getting to do it when you're past an age when most people think you could do something like that, for the first time. Like, it's nuts.
Yeah. I wanted to, as I said, respect the business, and I wanted to be good. I wanted it to look like I belonged out there. And so I put a lot of time in the ring, and I did a very long post on Instagram where I tried to thank every single person that helped me along the way, because it was, Philly and Marino, Dillinger, Bishop obviously was in the ring with me a ton. Hardway was in there. Shelby Wilder was in there with me. Dr. Dan was in there with me. All of these guys who helped me prepare for this moment. And to be able to do it, and got to shout out my boy Brent Pekarski at Druzinski Medical Sports Institute, Sports Medicine Institute from UH, because without him, I'll give a little. I was training on the Thursday before the show, and took a big move, and I thought I'd blown my quad and hammy. Like, it went like, and I was
Really?
I don't know that I can move. And I kind of got up, and I'm like, this cannot be happening, like 2 days before the show. And Brent, who's a wonderful human being, on his day off came in and got me, and he was like, it's not your hammy. It was just something in my glute that was just strained. And he's like, you're going to be fine. Like, and so it was kind of out of my, and once I was in there, I didn't feel anything, but
Sure.
I was pretty nervous about it. I spent a lot of time with a Theragun on my body, but it ended obviously fine now. And yeah, it was awesome, but it was a lot. It was just something I will never, ever, ever forget. And it's one of those things, and I know we all have these moments where you do something that for you is really awesome. It's crazy. We were out there. Our match was, I think, 22 minutes, bell to bell.
Jeez.
And it feels like it was like an instant. And like trying to relive it through my own eyes is more difficult than maybe I want it to be, because it was just such a cool experience. But it's awesome. If anybody wants to watch it, it's on Fight TV, Triller TV. You can actually sign up for a 7-day free trial.
Yeah.
And so you just get that, and you can watch it's Absolution 17 replay, and you can just watch the whole thing.
And the idea of the guys you're in there with, these are guys who are trying to make a name for themselves.
Absolutely.
Who are comers in the business.
Absolutely.
And I know how much that means to you, because you know how hard absolutely it is to get on that track. What did you glean, if anything, from?
Oh, there's my
there
squad
right there. Yeah, there's your boys.
There we go.
There's
me in
them
it's nuts.
and the grind that it is to get
Little
to the
double
point where they're
clothesline.
trying to get to.
That's the Giant slamming me. Look at my face. I'm not happy. Little hip toss on Double J there.
There you go.
That's a little pre. So those are my guys. What I learned from them is just, that's a big spine buster there. That was a good one. And there's there it is. Victory, baby. I just how to, that it's hard, man, that it is hard for these guys to make it. It doesn't matter how good you are. You got to try. You got to stay healthy. They're going out there killing themselves all around the country to try to make it. And, Filthy Tom Lawler's very well established. Hardway Holloway, I think, he's gotten some looks from the WWE. Bishop's gotten some looks from the WWE, and I hope, they make it to the biggest level that they possibly can, because they're awesome. But just that it's hard. There's so much trust involved, so much trust involved in everything that goes on out there. And that it's a special thing, and it's a special fraternity, or obviously more inclusive fraternity, sorority group of human beings that have like the bond of, being workers and what that means. And, it was, for me, it was cool when we came back. We got a lot of standing O's and like a lot of respect, and that's kind of what we want. I remember Jacoby Brissett, I think, said it best. He's like, all you want is the respect of your peers in anything it is that you do. Mm-hmm. And so that's what it's about, and it's about entertaining the fans and sacrificing and doing whatever you have to do to put on the best show. And it's anybody who thinks that
I don't know that anybody does though.
I wasn't going to say fake, but just
I'm sorry, I didn't interject.
That so many people that actually went on the business quit after their first day of training because it's brutal. Just go home if you're at home and you're like, oh, I want to see that ring. It's like a trampoline. Just throw yourself on your carpet in your living room, on your back as hard as you can, and tell me how that feels.
Yeah,
that's what it's like.
There's a. I remember James telling me this with his dad that the word that was most important to all of them was trust. And they would say the big phrase was take care of each other.
Yes,
take care of each other out there, and because you're doing things that are so absurd otherwise that if you don't have somebody for your best interest, and those who didn't were ostracized and done,
they're unsafe.
And you just can't deal with it. You can't have it.
I mean, at one point, I had no say in the matter, right? I was picked up by a 7'4" giant, tossed over his shoulder like a child.
That's right.
And slammed down. But when you take a step back and you think about it in that moment, there's a guy that I'd never met before.
Yep.
Who's 7'4", 420 pounds. And basically in that moment, the reality is my life was in his hands. If he wanted to just throw me straight down on my head and break my neck, if he wanted to just good night, Irene's curtains. Look at him.
There he is.
Ross. But it is such a cool sport / entertainment genre / art form that it was, to me, just really cool to be a part of it. And my friends who are really in it, Broski and Miz, to hear from them afterwards and what they had to say was very, 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 very cool.
Well, good job to you, buddy.
Thanks, man.
It was very, very cool.
And now we're back to the Browns. So all you who are sick of this, you're welcome.
I don't know
it's
anybody
over for
who's
all
sick.
you who liked it. Thank you so much. Everybody who came on support. There were a lot of people there that I knew, but there were a lot of people that I didn't know who I've met via social media or whatever. Came, pretty much sold out of the shirts. I had ZWO shirts
awesome.
going, pretty much sold out of those, which was cool. 8x10s, not as hot as we would have liked in the merch there, but fortunately they were not as expensive.
Do you do those ZWOs in smaller sizes?
Oh baby, you can. I got a store on ProWrestlingTees.com.
Okay. All right,
I'm going there.
I got to get one for the little fella. Your little spirit animal.
I need
one of those. For
him.
him.
Man.
We do have some news of the day. Browns kicker Dustin Hopkins signed a 3-year, $15.9 million extension. Now makes him the NFL's 5th highest paid kicker. The deal includes $8 million guaranteed, a little more than that, 5.3 on the average. He was sublime for us a year ago.
Oh, man.
And it locks up the position for the next 3 years. And in the words of Forrest Gump, when he got really rich from the Apple stock, it's one thing we don't have to worry about.
No, and that's great. And you've got Cade York in the program too. But yeah, D-Hop was so instrumental in winning games for us.
Yeah.
He was unbelievable. Set the Browns record, most field goals in a season, 8 from 50 plus, never missed from more than 50. He was incredible. And it's awesome. I'm very excited that he is back because, people here have been longing for Phil Dawson, right? To have that stability where it's like, okay, we have a great kicker. We don't have to worry about that. And we have not found that since Phil Dawson, and now I think we have, certainly based on what we saw. And you talk about a guy who was able to navigate kicking into the dog pound, making big kicks to win games, beat the Ravens off of his foot, beat the Steelers off of his foot in consecutive weeks. I mean, those are pressure kicks, division game. What he did in Indy was nuts. I mean, yeah, he was simply sensational, and that kind of effort and performance and greatness is to be rewarded, and that's what. Listen. We talked about it last week. You watch that kind of off-season Hard Knocks, and you're like, man, we're in a really good spot here. And this is just, again, another bit of evidence that when you deliver here with the Cleveland Browns, you will be rewarded. Now, at some point, we're probably going to run into a situation where we have too many people who are delivering that you can't possibly pay all of them. It's just that's the nature of the business. But right now, they're doing such a great job of making sure they're keeping everybody that they need in here.
And that is a testament to ownership, front office, all the things you said, rowing in the same direction. It's also one of those things that gets around the league. Like, hey, they take care of their own.
Oh,
they
yes.
take care of the ones. Like, there is a reputation that comes with this. And in our own division, to the south of us, down 71, there's a team that is doing it a very different way. And I think the gamble that they're running is one that is pretty wild, that they're willing to let all pros and without a doubt, 1A receivers walk for nothing.
Nothing.
We're not doing that around here.
No.
And from a fan base perspective, that ought to be a warm blanket because
Yes.
we don't. They do things right here. They spend right. If somebody does right, they take care of them. Yes, tough decisions, of course. There's a pie, right? But the difference is that if there is a way to keep everybody who is helping the operation together, this ownership will stop at nothing to do it.
No, because fortunately for all of us, right, they have been so successful that their net worth is not tied solely to this franchise. They made a tremendous amount of money and were very successful with Pilot and the things that he was working on. And so they're in a position where they will spare no expense to win. That is their singular focus is winning. They don't necessarily have to balance the books. Of course, they want to make money, and these NFL teams do make a great deal of money, and the Browns are very efficient in that way, and the Haslams demand it. But they will do whatever it takes on the football side to win. And that, I think, that's helpful for us against maybe some of the legacy owners whose full net worths are created by the fact that they owned an NFL team for a long time in their families.
It's liquidity.
It's liquidity, right? Which is why I think you're seeing, some of that talk about private equity coming to the NFL. My guess is they're going to pair with some of these people for cash infusions and all of that.
It makes sense. I mean, you've seen it. You've seen it with that Fenway group, and you're going to see it with more and more and more. That group that owns the Washington Commanders now, and so you will see more and more of that going forward just because you need to have a great deal of cash to circumvent a system that wants parity across the board.
Yes.
And that's kind of the realities of it. Those are your hot topics of the day presented by University Hospitals, official healthcare partner of your Cleveland Browns. Coming up next, a big video game drop last night. We'll get into that. We've got a linebacker room preview to give you as well. In the second hour of the program, a little bit of higher or lower. Lots of fun along the way. We're off and running. Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet, sports betting partner, your Cleveland Browns, now live in Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Sports Collectors Convention returning to Cleveland, the IX Center, July 24th through 28th, featuring 140 superstar athletes, Ramirez, Montana, Mayweather, Iverson, to name a few, and over 850 exhibitors. For tickets, visit nsccshow.com today. Now, I would just say on this, Montana, Mayweather, Iverson, none of those need a first name.
Yep.
Ramirez, I think, needs a first name because I could go Manny.
Yep.
It
I
is
could
Manny.
go Jose. I could go
Manny.
Okay, it's Manny. Okay.
Well, you know what you don't
So
see?
I think Manny should just be Manny.
Manny.
I think
Yeah.
he's more known as Manny than Ramirez.
Yeah. Yeah.
Am I wrong, Vince?
Oh, Manny could be Manny.
Oh, Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah.
That could be.
It should probably just say Joe Montana is all you just need. That's all you need there. Notice there's no Young,
There is no Young.
no reference to Young,
No, only
no
only
Esteban.
Montana.
Yeah, just Montana.
I assume that's not the entire state, but rather Joe.
Yeah. Oh,
Look at
him.
this guy. What
Look
does
at
he
him.
have?
Oh, baby.
What does he got?
What are those? Oh, my victory cigars.
Oh, he's got
That
some
was
cigars.
that was a pack. That was
That was a robust pack of Robustos.
It looked like one of those like T-shirt cannons, you know, where it's just like
Really was.
loaded up, just shooting cigars around.
Did you have one Saturday?
No, I did not. That actually would have been a great idea. I should have. I
You're
actually
like
had a
me
few
though,
in my
right?
house.
Like you're not crazy about them, or
Not
you like
crazy
them in the
about 'em.
moment, but then the next day less.
I
or-
didn't need to be in any worse shape the next day than I was. Let's just say that. So maybe it's a good idea. I did not have one.
It probably is. Also, be part of one of the most passionate fan base in the NFL. Join Next Gen STM, presented by Ticketmaster, the official waitlist of your Cleveland Browns. Being a Next Gen STM is the best chance to become a season ticket member in future seasons. Visit clevelandbrowns.com/nextgenstm to reserve your spot today. We have a trade request or demand.
Yeah, Brandon.
They're all requests, right?
They are all requests.
They're only a demand if you say, "I'm never going to play for you again."
Yeah, right. Well,
That's a demand.
and we've had trade requests be made here. One of them, famous David Njoku, we said nope, request denied,
Request denied.
and it's worked out great for everybody. So we'll see. Brandon Ayuk is very, very talented. He led their team in receiving last year. You know, maybe he's mad that he kind of plays second, third, fourth fiddle, maybe even on their offense. Think about Christian McCaffrey, what he does. You think about they did that receiver show, and that featured Debo and Kittle, not Ayuk. So maybe he wants to be shown a little bit of respect, you know?
Respect is usually best shown in football by money.
Money.
Yeah.
Money. Yep.
That's usually
And it
how
sounds
it
like they're far apart on their side. Now, if I was the Niners and I realized Debo does a lot of electric things and is more versatile in the ways in which he can be deployed, but he's a little bit older, his style causes him to take a little bit of a beating. Ayuk is a pure, good number one wide receiver. So I'm surprised that they wouldn't rather maybe get a little younger and, you know, stay with Ayuk. Now, I'm sure they're going to want to work it out. Kyle's no dummy. Neither is John Lynch. But that's an interesting name, I think, to a lot of teams. That could be a very interesting name. It sounds like, I mean, I don't know how much you've seen of this, but it sounds like Davante Adams is not playing for the Raiders next year.
Well, I mean, it certainly seems that way from the receiver show. Has there been any sort of demand for this summer where he's like, I'm not showing up, or what?
No, Rodgers said something at the
saw
celebrity event that, you know, how great it would be to play with Davante Adams again. And then
Well,
you got-
didn't he say, I can't wait to play with him again?
Yes. And then you had Orlovsky today was saying that he believes he's going to be a Jet. Now, if the Jets go out there with Aaron Rodgers, Davante Adams, Garrett Wilson, and Mike Williams with Breece Hall in the backfield, I mean, they might have the best, and I don't even know who
best
their tight
collection of
end is,
talent
but they
in
might have the
those
best
positions.
11 personnel collection in the league.
Do you? So what would the Niners get back in that would make any sense?
The Raiders? I don't know.
Or I'm sorry, the Raiders. What would they get back in that would make any sense
Picks.
for them? Like they're going with Minshew,
So picks. Right.
picks, I guess.
I still think
It's kind of a punt on the season for them.
I still think the craziest thing that happened this offseason is, and I realize it also says, you know, why there was no market for Justin Fields. But if you're the Raiders, the idea that you wouldn't take a gamble on Justin Fields and you would go with Gardner Minshew, and the guy is your offense coordinator was Fields' offense coordinator, which tells you why that says, no, I don't want him.
Yeah.
Much more emphatically than, oh, we prefer Minshew.
Yeah.
It's wild to me. That is very, very wild.
It is. It's absurd that I agree with you on that. It speaks to the deficiencies Fields obviously has. Also speaks to, I think the other thing that's interesting about Vegas is they can, and I don't know who you would be there isn't a Caleb Williams type. I could see people falling in love with Quinn Ewers over the course of this season if he plays well at Texas, because he has a rocket, and he's got some juice to him.
Yep.
So I could see people falling in love with him this season if he plays really well. But I would also say that the point I was going to make is because they're not in Oakland anymore.
Yep.
It's pretty easy for the Raiders to tank now.
Totally.
Like, who in Vegas is holding their feet to the fire?
Nobody.
They're going to sell out that stadium no matter what, whether
No
their
matter
own
what.
fans or somewhere else. Everybody on a vacation.
It's every team. Right. It's every
Yeah.
road trips. Oh, what road trip? Oh, we're going
We're
to
going to
Vegas.
go to Vegas? Oh, Vegas is on the schedule? Oh, we got to go to Vegas.
Yeah, we've been
Everyone's
doing
it.
reads. I've been telling you guys how great
Gotta
Vegas
go.
is.
Yeah, so like,
Very cool.
I think the reality is that if they want to play that game and they want to punt on a season and start a rebuild, this would be the time to do it.
No
and
doubt.
Accumulating assets would be a smart way to do it.
No doubt. I think you're exactly right about that.
And by the way, what did he think he was getting into?
I don't know, man, but he's
he signed there.
he's vicious on that
He
show.
thought he was like it was going to be with Derek Carr forever. Is that what
I think so.
The whole thing.
Yeah, I think so.
It's like I'll go play with my buddy Derek
Yeah,
Carr, and
my
that's
college
it. And
teammate. Yeah.
I guess that's it. That's what he's hoping for. Not
Has
the reality.
Fresno State produced another pro since? I mean, Derek Carr and Devontae Adams in one draft is pretty incredible. Like, I don't know that they've even produced. Has anybody else gone
the
in the
two
league?
Carr brother? I mean, David was number 1 overall.
Yep.
Out of Fresno.
Yep.
And then his brother was a second rounder.
Yep. And so was Devontae.
And Adams was a
but
second rounder.
Devontae is.
Sure. Yeah. David is. I put David in the same ilk as Couch.
Yeah, totally. Just,
Like
no
just
chance.
No chance in those scenarios. I was trying to think, is there anybody else? I think their coach just quit actually yesterday. I think it was former Cal coach Jeff Tedford
Oh, wow.
was the coach there and just stepped down. I want to say that just happened yesterday. But you know, the other thing I don't understand about them, as a side note, is they have that V on the back of the helmet, which I think it means Valley. It just looks ridiculous. Have you not noticed
Yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah.
So they have a red. They're red and blue and white,
And white,
and they have
yeah.
a bulldog
The
on the
Bulldogs,
helmet.
yep.
But then they have a V on the back that I think stands for Valley, like a green V.
What are they in the San Fernando? Where is Fresno? What valley would they be in?
I don't know.
We're two Cali kids over here. It's,
Nobody knows.
I don't know.
but
Yeah,
I
I
think
don't
that's
know.
what it's for. Some
Fresno's
valley.
not. People aren't flying to California to
No.
go to Fresno.
No, a lot of like fruit farms and like carrot
Yeah.
farms and stuff there, right?
Which makes
Isn't
me
that
think
the
the
deal?
San Fernando Valley. Yeah. By the way, quick aside, I think this is because I did a good job wrestling, but
Look at this.
look at that thing. Look at that there,
Is that
folks.
functional?
Yeah, I'm using it right now. Watch. Hello?
Oh my goodness gracious!
Oh, baby.
I don't know.
We
what
need
to
one
do
more.
With that.
We
I
need
don't
one
know.
more for you. We need one more for you.
That's pretty good. And
That's
then
right.
what you need is
Connor.
a mount.
Well, wait, you're right. Yes.
We need to get a mount so that it's here.
Yeah. Then it
We
could-
got a
then
lot
it
of
could be real
plexiglass
something.
here, brother.
But I mean, right
We're
now
onto
it's something.
That's the
we're onto
biggest
some-
step
Connor.
we've had.
Connor, where's he?
Where is he at? Is
No,
he
he's
still
not
here?
in there? No, he's out of there.
Good job
Well,
at
we'll give
Connor
him
with
a
the K.
round of applause.
Very good job out of him. All right. The what else we have here? Oh yeah, the college football 25 game dropped. So
Oh man, look at that.
yeah, there it is.
Well,
How about it?
how about it?
So technology is amazing. I worked yesterday and had some stuff was running around. Finally settled down around 8:00, and I went to the interface on the Xbox and I bought it. I bought that. You get the Madden and this for like 140 or 130
Yeah.
or something like that, and you get all the nonsense that they like with the points and stuff, so they
Sure.
can make guys whatever.
Yep.
So I did it. I don't even know what all that does, but apparently they get a kick out of it. So we did that.
Yep.
And it was downloaded in about 12 minutes.
Yeah.
How quick I could not believe how quick it was. It was downloaded in about 12-15 minutes, and I fired it up. I put it on social. I fired it up with Beamsy and Bootsy sitting next to me, and that was their. I just filmed them as we put it up, and it
Yeah,
occurred
it's
to
hot.
me. It was really cool. It occurred to me that
They were giddy.
It's truly a game they've waited their entire lives for.
Totally.
They've never had it. They have no point of reference on it other than the fact that I had an Xbox 360 with the 2014 game, and during the pandemic, I would, because we didn't have anything to talk about, I would do Ohio State seasons and then talk about the games on the radio. Like that was something I did at that time.
It was big.
It was big. 'cause
Barstool,
you had to have
Barstool
something.
was doing that with
Yeah,
Coach Doug's or
they
whatever.
did. They did it with Tennessee. I did it with Ohio State, and I downloaded the new Ohio State. I played with Fields and all those guys, and so I did it. But then we got shortly thereafter, you got the red ring of death on the Xbox 360. So they haven't played in 4 years that game. So they were eagerly anticipating it. It's awesome. It's totally immersive. It is very much everything that made the other game, I think, better than Madden is all still there. They have all the pageantry that you want, all the rivalry stuff. The thing about a college football game at a big game on campus is there are these intricate little details that each stadium has that differentiate them from the others. Most of them are old buildings. A lot of them are old buildings, whether it's chants or songs or entrances or War Eagle or whatever that the NFL just doesn't have. The NFL is a much more sterile. It's not sterile in terms of the noise, but most NFL stadiums feel kind of similar. There's a similarity to them. College, they pick up on all of that. So it checked all of those boxes. I haven't really played it much. I played for about a quarter against Bootsy, and that was about it. They've played it nonstop. I had to have a 7 a.m. no playing until 7 a.m. I needed an hour of peace this morning before they started on it, and they were like horses in the gate at the Kentucky Derby. When's it 7, Dad? Is it 7 yet? Is it 7? And then they sprinted down to do it. Now, of course, they're jerks, and instead of just playing the dynasty like any sane human would do, they do the create a guy nonsense.
Okay.
So then you got to go through the recruiting process. Who do you want to sign with? What type of tape do you have on your shoes? All this nonsense.
Yes.
So it was 9 o'clock before any of them ever played a game. They were just building guys all morning.
Yeah.
So they love that.
So what are the modes in the game?
Dynasty. Dynasty's pretty. I haven't gotten into that yet. I don't think the
It looks
servers,
very involved.
I don't think the servers were up for it last night, so I didn't. And again, I only played for a quarter.
Yeah.
Then they have the their version of My Career. I don't know what it's called,
Which is
Road
as
to
an
whatever.
individual player.
Yeah. So then they all did that. So they created their guys, and then you go through recruiting process. And then you do I want to go to Ohio State and be the third string quarterback for this year, or do I want to go to Michigan State and start right away? So you have to make those decisions on how you want to go about it.
Go to Michigan State, ball and transfer.
Yeah, and now you can. So the portal's in there, NIL's in there, all of that stuff is in there. That you get text messages if you're out too much and the coach suspends you, stuff like that. So it's completely immersive. And maybe a road to the college football playoff maybe mode.
Is there any for Ohio State, is the only team that you can play as Ohio State is this year's Ohio State, or is there an Ohio State best of team?
No, there's not an Ohio State best of team. There are what do they do in Madden when you get the old guys?
Yeah, some legends.
Cards. So I think there are legend cards in the game. We didn't get into that, but I think there are legend cards
That's
in the
on
game.
So there's a My Team version of it?
Yes. That's
Okay,
what the
so
boys are
that's
doing.
what it
That's in
is.
that My Team
Okay,
world.
yeah.
You can do that, but I didn't see now, to be honest, I didn't have time to look, but I didn't see could you go play with the 14 Ohio State team? I didn't
that
see
would
that.
be cool.
Yeah.
Or if they just had for each one the best, the ultimate Ohio State team, the ultimate Clemson team, the ultimate the U team.
I think the idea of trying to get
all those people,
of those people licensed, juxtaposed to what they had to do to get this done, just seemed overwhelming.
Yeah, because they have actually for a while in Madden they had a thing like that where you could be. They picked what it was 8 teams. Campus Legends, and it was a mode where you could play as the best U team of all time versus the best Ohio State team versus the best Clemson team or whatever. But I think it's because all the guys that were in that were already licensed for Madden.
Sure. Yeah, and that's the problem.
That's the problem. Yeah.
Is what are you gonna get? How are you gonna track down Chick Harley?
Right.
What are you gonna do? Who are you gonna find? Where's Hopalong Cassidy's family? How are we gonna get him in there?
Yeah.
So I think that's the thing that makes it so difficult. The other thing, I just think it's tremendous. I don't know how they got it done. I think it's remarkable that they got it done in an era of NIL. I am concerned that it could be a one and done situation because I think they set a very dangerous precedent with Arch Manning. I think paying somebody $60,000 to do an ad reportedly for the game allows for if next year I'm Julian Sayin, who's the 5-star kid at Ohio State, who's the California kid who's going to be the quarterback next year. If I'm Julian Sayin, what's stopping you from saying I need $50,000 or you can't put me in the game? So to me, they should have held firm on Arch and said you can get the 600 like everybody else, or nothing. But by paying him the 50 or 60, now all of a sudden you open this can of worms. You're going to have guys wanting more everywhere. Where does it stop?
And he's not even the starter.
No, I think it's going to be really difficult going forward to manage it. I think because here's the thing: you do Madden. What are you dealing with? the NFLPA.
Yep.
There is no PA.
Right.
So you got to go individually to every kid, every team. Think how monumentous that is
Yeah.
to try to track all that down.
Yeah. And I mean, so many people per team, so many more teams.
Oh my God. They got 120 teams on the game. They got some FBS teams in the game. Like, no, it's crazy. Yeah, the scope of it is enormous. And there's kids that missed out. Like there's JT Tuimoloau, who could be a first-round pick out of Ohio State, defensive end. He's not in the game. And there's 3 or 4 Ohio State guys. Starting left tackle's not in the game.
Why?
So I saw this from EA last week, and they said that there were some guys who won't be in it. Some of it just because of choice. They didn't want the money, didn't want their names, image, and likeness out there.
Why not?
I don't know. And
If I'm a college kid, I get to be in this
playing
game.
with come on.
Yeah.
And then the other thing was I stopped.
It's good.
Then the other thing was some kids just missed the deadline. They said that some kids just missed the deadline, like it got lost in email.
That's on brand.
Yeah, and just missed the deadline on it. This is something that I didn't consider until last night. You know how, and we've talked about my boys playing FIFA, how they know Mbappe, Holland, PSG, Bayern, Inter, AC, all of it, right? They know all of it of European soccer, and they know it because of FIFA.
Yep.
What I didn't consider till last night was there's a generation of kids who did not know the depth of college football because of this game not being there. Like, how many kids know, like, if you talk to, like, if I were to talk to my kids about, like, NBA, they could probably give you the top 7 on every team in the league because they play 2K.
And NFL because of fantasy.
And Madden. And fantasy.
Yeah.
And the show and FIFA and all of this. So, like, they didn't have the depth of knowledge of college football but now they will. Like, there's a running, my Beamsy was like, Dad, who's this running back at Oklahoma State who's in 98? And then now they know who that is. Like, Bootsy was playing with Nebraska. How do you say this guy's name? Well, Dylan Raiola. Well, he was the number 1 quarterback in the country a couple of years ago, and he's Nebraska. There's a legend there in terms of his dad played there, and so all of that's how that happened. So I do think that there will be opportunity for these players that are in this game to capitalize even more because they will be now more known than they were even previously.
Totally.
And by kids.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's pretty cool. It's very, very cool.
So what are you going to roll? Are you going to do Buckeyes? Are they the best team in the game right now, rating-wise?
Georgia, I think, is number 1. They're 2.
They're 2. Okay.
1 or 2. Yeah, Georgia, Texas, Oregon are the top 4 overall talent. I don't know. I don't know when I'm going to have time. I'd like to play a little bit. But I always like taking the team a little off the grid that threw it a lot. So I always got a soft spot in my heart for SMU. I like those helmets. I like all the criminal enterprises that they do.
Yeah.
In Dallas, I feel like I could thrive there.
Yeah.
Throw some money around. I actually did. I'm doing 20 most interesting programs down south, and SMU was last Friday. I don't know how many. I'm sure most of our audience has no point of reference on this. They are playing in the Atlantic Coast Conference this year. Okay, they are doing so for no money.
That I knew.
So they punted on the television share. They're getting nothing. Their boosters are making up the difference. So
just to be in a conference.
Just to be in a conference. They said, just let us in. We'll play for free. Okay? So they're paying that out of pocket. Last year, Texas A&M was number 1 in the country in terms of money raised to their booster club and NIL for football. It was like 134 million, something like that. SMU, in its first year in the ACC, raised $159 million. Yeah.
So they're gonna be good soon.
It won't take long.
No.
It will not take long. They've been good before. I mean, they won national championships. They're the number 1 teams in the country in the early 80s. Like, it's there. And they raised that kind of money.
There's a good 30 for 30 on them, isn't there?
It's one of my favorite ones, other than the ones that are tearjerkers like Once Brothers and Two Escobars. Like, those things are emotional. But aside from that, Pony Excess
Pony Excess
is just spectacular
about
everything they were doing. And now everything that they did and got in trouble for is all legal.
Totally.
Do whatever you want.
It's not legal. It's
the
only way.
It's the law of the land.
The only way to survive.
Yeah. Like people think it's funny. There's that image of Eric Dickerson driving that gold Trans Am, and they think he got it from SMU. He actually got it from Texas A&M. He had Texas A&M buy him a gold Trans Am, and then the next day he signed on signing day with SMU, and then he kept the Trans Am.
It's great.
Because what's A&M going to do?
What are they going to do?
Hey, wait, we need that back. Well, why does he have it?
Right.
How did he get it to begin
Why'd
with?
you give it to me? It feels like a violation.
It's like a violation.
Yeah.
So he just took it.
Is
Legend.
Are coaches in the game? Like
No,
so-
not that I saw. It was because when the boys were committing this morning, like none of the coaches I saw were in the game. So like, and they didn't.
no Ryan Day, no Dion.
No,
I feel like
well,
Dion should
I
be
didn't
in
get
it.
again. Maybe the boys haven't played with Colorado yet, so I don't know. But in the little bit that I played, I didn't see them ever take an image of a coach
Okay.
on the sideline. Like anytime they did in the Madden game, they'll take a coach shot. In this game, they didn't. It was always flavor. It was students. It was co-eds. It was mascots. That type of stuff is what it was. What is this here? Many college footballers are playing the game themselves. Most notably, Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter played the game. Both players played as Colorado. Sanders defeated Hunter by 40 in their live stream playing the game. Hunter threw the Colorado offensive line under the bus saying, the O-line is realistic. They can't block for nothing. Jeez, Travis.
That program's gonna.
He's gone after this year.
It's good. Yeah. I don't think they're going to have a great year this year.
I asked a guy about them last week, and he said, look, everybody knows what's going on. He used them. They used him. The guy was like, look, we were on game day. We were on this for a month straight. 10 million people watched our games. 10 million people saw that campus, which is as beautiful as any you're going to see. And the enrollment was through the roof in terms of the applications. So, like, they won.
Yep.
They won too. Like, he used them. They were the worst Power 5 in the country when he got there. They're still not great.
They're going to be rough this year, I think.
They'll be better than they were last year. They won 4 games. I think they could get bowl eligible, which is 6, just because they're not in the Pac-12.
Yeah.
They don't have to play SC. They don't have to play Oregon. They don't have to play Washington. So, like Utah, they'll benefit from that. So I think they have a chance at being bowl eligible. But after that, he's gone, and then they're starting over again.
Where do you think he goes? You
I don't know if he goes anywhere because he's not going to go to. Well, that's why I was surprised he went to Colorado to begin with. Like, to me, he was at Jackson. To me, he should have been at Mississippi State or Auburn or something like that. Even UCF, USF, something in the Southeast where he had infrastructure and rep and all of those things. Like, trying to build it out of the clear blue sky in the middle of the Rocky Mountain region is with no recruiting
Do you think
base
he
that
could
you're
go back
familiar
to
with.
Florida State?
No, Norvell's undefeated last year.
Then no.
Then they have no interest. They're not happy with him.
No.
No. He
'Cause
didn't
they-
show up to longtime defensive coordinator there. Pretty inside baseball, but Mickey Andrews passed, and Dion was supposed to be like the keynote speaker. He didn't show up for the funeral, so like people there were like, "Fine, yeah,
That's it.
yeah,
Across the line.
yeah." All right. Oh, we got Gibbe.
We might want to just keep rolling for a few minutes.
We'll do. Let's take a break.
Position
'cause
preview it. Position preview it too.
Yeah, we'll move everything back a
There's
little
a
bit
little-
since
I
we're
All
got
right. Well, we
Hold
get
on.
you set for tonight. We
I
get you
got-
set for tonight.
I
Coming
got
up.
one more NIL note for you,
Give it to me.
courtesy of our in-studio guest,
Yep.
Monsoon. Phil Knight has said Oregon football now has unlimited NIL.
So they do. He does. They've done it in recruiting and they've done it in the portal. They just beat Bama. Ohio State and Oregon are the most mobilized teams in the country right now with NIL. Other than A&M.
Phil Knight's a pretty good
but
backer.
A&M is selling something else. But there's billionaires everywhere.
Of course.
Like all these programs have.
For sure.
At the top, it's just a matter of do you want to write the checks?
What are people in your mind, these billionaire benefit? Like, what are they getting out of it? Like, I understand a billionaire in the NFL, you own the team. You're the owner of the football team.
You see blue chips?
Yeah?
That's what they're getting.
Okay.
Remember Hap? I own you, bud. I own him. I own him. I own him. That's what they're getting. Chesty. Be Chesty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, man, how'd you get that quarterback? Hey, man, I bought that kid. That's my kid. I bought him. Oh, okay.
Looking tough.
That's it. That's how it goes. Hall of Fame, or we had the Home Run Derby last night, All-Star Game tonight.
We had an
also
anthem
the
last
Open.
night.
We had an anthem. We'll get into all that coming up next. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. My friends at Jim Beam, what do sports and Jim Beam have in common? Both are better when enjoyed with others. Grab a bottle, gather your friends, enjoy the game, because with Jim Beam, you come as fans and leave as family. Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, 40% alcohol by volume. Copyright 2024, James B. Beam Distilling Company, Claremont, Kentucky. Drink smart. Home Run Derby was last night. Did you see any of this?
I did not.
I didn't either.
I did not.
I don't know. I will watch tonight. I like the pomp and circumstance of the starting lineup, and I want to see Skeens pitch against the top of the American League.
So that's the only thing that's intriguing to me, because Skeens has become mythical, like almost a mythical creature in my limited baseball watching, in terms of when you're on social. If anytime he pitches, he dominates social media.
Yeah.
I don't know that I could name, I want to say 5, but maybe 10 is a better number, participants in the Major League Baseball All-Star Game.
I think I'm probably close to that.
And I'm starting with Skeens.
Well, you know our guys.
I'm going to say Mike Trout.
I don't know if Trout is or not, but
Jose Ramirez.
Juan Ramirez, you got those guys. You get Ellie De La Cruz is in the mix.
What about the closer, Clase?
Clase's in the mix.
Okay.
Yeah, you got him. Ohtani.
Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
Okay. Aaron
Freddie
Judge.
Freeman.
Aaron Judge.
Juan Soto. We know. Yeah, we get.
I don't
10,
know Juan
12.
Soto, but together, yeah.
Yeah.
Fernando
It's just
Tatis.
I don't know if he made it or not, but it would seem like he would be in the mix. Yeah, I don't know. It's just become so regionalized that you care very vehemently about, like we're seeing with the Guardians right now. Had an incredible first half. They're in first place. All of it. They've definitely been one of the stories of the summer around here. But if you're not here, I don't think you're following this team. You follow your team only.
Right.
It is the most of the professional. It was the first one that went ultra regional.
Yep.
Where you only, even like on Sunday Night Baseball, they'll try to throw up Yankees Red Sox. Nobody cares.
No.
It's done on that side. But people in those towns still care. But you don't care about teams that are out of market, and it's just what's happened over the years with Major League Baseball. But I'm interested to see Skeens go against the 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3 probably the American League, and Quan's going to get a shot because he's leading off, so he goes first against Skeens.
Okay.
Do you know Paul Skeens, his story? Do you know how this happened?
No. All I know
Out of
is
high school,
in my mind, it sounds like he has a 0.0 ERA and strikes everybody out.
he's the nastiest dude to come in, probably since Kerry Wood, in terms
Okay.
of his debut.
Okay.
There's a little Fernando mania to it if you're of a certain age.
Yeah.
So he goes out of high school. He's a California kid, signs with the Air Force Academy out of high school.
Okay.
Plays 2 years at Air Force, enters the transfer portal, goes to LSU, wins National Player of the Year, SEC Player of the Year, set a record for strikeouts that went back to Ben McDonald, who was the number one pick in the early
Ben
90s.
McDonald. Wasn't he?
He was in LSU.
LSU?
Yeah, because he was
Yeah.
because Skeens went to LSU. They win the national championship, and he starts dating Livy Dunn.
Okay.
Then he goes number 1 overall to the Pirates, and he's been up for a month and is basically unhittable.
Yeah.
So he's had an 18 months, the likes of which no one's seen.
Legendary.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So he'll go tonight, and I am quite intrigued by that.
Wow. Okay. So that's what I'm going to see. By the way, I don't know if you guys saw this. I just came across mine, and I think like a half hour ago. We were talking about the national anthem last night, which was not great.
Yep.
So it was Ingrid Andress is the one who's a 4-time Grammy winner.
I don't even know who she is.
I'd never heard of her.
Yeah.
But she said she posted about a half hour ago on, it looks like on Instagram.
Okay.
I'm not going to BS y'all. I was drunk last night. I'm checking myself into a facility today to get the help I need. That was not me last night. I apologize to the MLB, all the fans in this country I love so much for that rendition. I'll let y'all know how rehab is. I hear it's super fun. XO Ingrid.
Oh, right. That took a turn I wasn't anticipating.
Me neither. I saw that and I was like, okay. I mean, it's
Well, that explains it though, because everyone's she's like a Grammy award winning artist. I'm like, well, she can sing.
not last night.
No, but that explains.
That I think some people would say though, perhaps after a few cocktails, they get on a karaoke mic and it's their best singing.
I think in your mind it is.
and your audience doesn't know the difference. Fair.
Slightly different audience than a home run derby on a Monday night.
Yeah.
That's pretty locked into the national anthem,
Yeah.
which is already one of the hardest songs to sing, and you got to sing it a cappella, which it's just brutal.
Yeah, no doubt. But there it is. That's what it was.
Did you see your boy Tiger in his press conference today? Don't poke the tiger, baby.
Mrs. Doubtfire got crushed.
So
Crushed.
I talked with some younger people in the morning, and I'm like, do you guys have any idea who Colin Montgomery is?
Oh, man.
No point of reference.
Colin Montgomery, okay, was one of the best European golfers. Callaway was huge at the beginning of Callaway, but could never win the Open. In fact,
Well, what I said was he was for probably a 5 to 6 year period, in my mind's eye, he felt like he was the answer to best player to never win a major.
yes.
Like he was in the top 5 of the world. It felt like for like 5 years.
He
And
never
he
did one.
He never won a major. No. And he was always that guy. It was like, well, why hasn't he won one? What's the problem here?
So,
He's too good to not win a major.
second at the Open Championship in 05, second or tied for second 3 times at the U.S. Open, second at the PGA, and his best in the Masters was actually tied for 8th. He's a Hall of Famer. He was the European Tour Order of Merit winner, which means the best player on their tour, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, and 2005.
So there you go. So he is that. He might honestly be
I think he probably
the
is.
all-time answer to the question of who is the best golfer to never win a major.
So
He might be that correct answer.
He spent, starting in 1994, spent 400 weeks in the top 10 players in the world. Highest ranking he ever reached was number 2. In his prime, he was considered one of the best drivers of the golf ball in the world, became a very precise iron player, often able to judge the distance he hit to the ball exactly from long range. He came in first in the Volvo bonus pool every year from 93-98, which was an extra tranche, great word, of prize money awarded at the end of each season to regular members of the tour who had the best performances of the season. So, I mean, he was... Yeah, just couldn't get it done at the majors. Had a very like old school swing, like very upright.
Yep.
Like, with a
Way
bend
up,
C,
yeah.
reverse C, way high. So he basically was saying that the Tiger needs to hang it up.
Yeah, he was asked, it's a Scottish Open. He's a Scottish guy, so he's doing a lot of availability. By the way, you listen to 850 ESPN Cleveland, a good Karma brand station, WKNR. So he was asked about Tiger. Everyone's asked about Tiger. I'm going to tell you something. Jack, you want to annoy Jack 10 years ago? Ask him about Tiger. He couldn't wait to not talk about Tiger. Like
Yep.
he was so annoyed by it.
Yep.
And I think probably everybody in golf, they've had to do this for so long, and while they are incredibly
jealous.
Yes, incredibly appreciative of him for the amount of money he made all of them, there is also this feeling of like, okay, enough.
Yes.
And so he's asked about Tiger at this availability, and he says, I think he ought to think about hanging it up. The answer wasn't nearly as inflammatory as I'm sure it comes across if you just read it. Like if you hear it, it's not as bad. But Tiger was asked about it and went all in.
Tiger Woods said that as a past champion, I'm exempt until I'm 60, unlike Colin Montgomery, who never was champion.
Right.
Now, Colin Montgomery did post today,
Yeah.
if golf writers want my thoughts on Tiger, please ask me directly rather than taking a quote from an interview out of context. Wishing Tiger an enjoyable and successful week.
Yeah. So that's the beef. I think he's right on that. I think it was taken out of context, and I think it was. But Tiger, like he's not afraid to take something and use it. He's
No
like
way.
Jordan in that regard.
As a past
and
champion,
I took that personally.
I'm exempt until I'm 60. Colin's not.
Yeah. So that's the way that goes. All right, there you go. That starts on Thursday. It is my favorite major. I know it is yours as well.
Oh, baby.
I love. Now, have you played there at Troon?
I have played Troon.
Is that where they are?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
This
you've
year's
played
Troon,
it.
I played it. Yeah.
Is that the one you said was
postage
pure?
stamp? Troon wasn't my favorite of the ones I played. It's more boring.
What was is it Turnberry? You said
Turnberry
it
was
pure.
awesome. Turnberry is awesome.
Okay.
Kings Barnes is
But Troon is
amazing.
pretty.
Troon's pretty straightforward. Troon's the one on, like, if you played it on one of the video games, you'd shoot 40.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Just bomb it.
It's just straight, not that long. It's the wind coming off because most of the holes go perpendicular to the ocean or to the sea, and so you get huge crosswinds, and that's what makes that course challenging more so than the layout of the course itself.
Okay, so if there's no elements, then
They could light it
they'll
up.
shoot 60.
They could light it up.
All right. We will get some position previews. What are we doing? Linebackers? Is that what I saw? Doing some linebackers. We'll do that. A little higher, lower as well. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Browns fans joins Champions League, a free gaming community for Browns fans around the world. Visit clevelandbrowns.com/Champions League to play Fortnite for your chance to win 2 passes to Browns training camp. Registration closes on July 19th. That's 3 days from today, so sign up now, and you can take care of that. Time for a little higher or lower, presented by Keep It Fun Ohio from the Ohio Lottery. Remind you to set time and spending limits when gambling. Hello, Gibby.
Give
it!
I thought we were doing position preview, but that's my bad.
Oh, my gosh, I forgot about that. 'Cause
we were just moving everything
flipped
back
it.
one.
Do you want to do position preview now or higher or lower?
Well, you teased it. I can be ready. Give me a second.
In the meantime, you do that. That's a bad job out of me. I see what happened was when we finish a segment, I throw the paper away so I don't come back to it.
Smart.
And then that segment, though, we flopped. So we'll do position
You're good.
preview coming up. I just want to say this. So this is from SEC Media Days, which is going on right now while you're getting our higher, lower in order.
Yep.
There is some question about whether the SEC is going to penalize teams for doing horns down.
Okay.
So the Texas horns down.
Yep.
And Oklahoma's head coach Brent Venables says, I don't really have an opinion. Football is a game of emotion, intensity, passion. If they say that's going to be a penalty, don't do it. If they say it's free for all, have at it. This became a thing under Tom Herman, who was an Ohio State assistant. He was the one that threw the fit about horns down is disrespectful.
No, it's not.
This is what I say. If you're going to do horns up, then they can do horns down.
Yes.
Full stop.
Yes.
So you want to do this every time you score, then they can do this when they don't.
What's the problem? Why,
Chill
offensive
out,
in
dude.
what way?
It's awful.
It's
It's
this?
a joke. It's just this. Yeah.
And that
That's it. What's this?
how's that
Nothing.
offensive?
Not. You're going to run around doing this, then they can do this.
Absolutely.
I would take it as a compliment.
It's like saying like our thing's thumbs up, but you can't give me a thumbs down. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Oh, that's a really good idea, Texas.
The lick on the thumb's my favorite
lick's
part
the
of that
key.
whole thing. The lick, yeah.
Do that to the kids. I still do it every once in a while. Used to do it a lot more. Oh, that's a really good idea. Yeah, let's have Dairy Queen for dinner. That's a really good idea, Bootsy.
He probably hates that.
Hates it. Yeah,
Oh man,
he hates it.
that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, buddy.
So for this week's edition of Higher or Lower, it was more just reacting to the quarterback rankings between these two.
Oh, baby. So this is the one we've been waiting for.
This is the big one.
This is the biggie. This is the biggie. Top 10 quarterbacks.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Should we try and guess how the evaluators will see it?
You are more than welcome to. We are ready to go here.
All right.
Okay.
Obviously, Mahomes is one
Yes.
by the evaluators. I bet he isn't on PFF.
He is number one.
Oh, okay. So that feels like a cheat to me because I don't think last year he was the number one PFF quarterback. Do you realize he was not first or second team All-Pro, Patrick Mahomes? It was Lamar and it was Dak.
Yeah.
We also had, what was it, Kelsey? Kelsey
was not first or second team All-Pro.
PFF says 2023 wasn't Mahomes' best year by the numbers, but after back-to-back Super Bowls with one of the least talented supporting casts, we're not even going to entertain overthinking this one. Goes back to, hey, don't bet against him.
Never again. I picked against him once in like 5 years,
Yep.
and that was the time they won.
Yep, exactly. On to number 2, gentlemen.
All right. So Mahomes is one. Number 2,
I think
Lamar.
Lamar is 2.
PFF has number 2, Lamar Jackson. ESPN does not.
Okay.
Josh Allen.
No, he's number 3.
Number 3. Okay.
So ESPN does not. So
that means
Lamar
Lamar
is-
Jackson's-
hold on.
He's not even top 4, or not even top 3. Burrow.
2.
Joe Burrow is number 2 on the ESPN list.
Okay.
I think you have to count his injury stuff. Like just do the ESPN list. Indulge me for a second.
Sure.
If you were starting a franchise right now and you could pick anybody in the NFL, you would pick Mahomes first.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
I do not believe these general managers would pick Burrow second because
No.
of the injuries. If he wasn't hurt, then yes, you would. Makes sense. He's the only guy to beat Mahomes in the postseason. Him and Brady. That's it.
Yep.
But
he is hurt.
he is hurt, and that's part of it. So
He's hurt often.
I kind of reject the notion that they would take him third because of the injury stuff.
I'll be honest. If I were going to make my own list, at number 2 of all these guys that are ranked, I would put Herbert.
I love Herbert.
I just
you don't have to
like.
tell me, baby.
I think Allen is a little.
A little too wild with the football, a little reckless
Yeah.
with the football. Justin Herbert's a stud.
I think Allen should be ahead of Burrow on this, and I think he should be ahead of Lamar on this. I think Allen should be. I think Allen. I love everybody. I mean, everybody. What's not to love with Herbert? Allen has a lot on his plate, throwing
Yeah.
and running and
Yeah,
all of
they're
it.
not exactly loading him up.
Like, to me, he is like he's kind of like the epitome of like franchise quarterback. Like
Yes.
once you get past Mahomes, I think of Allen as like,
Yes.
man, they only go as he goes.
So ESPN has.
And he's taken him a long way. He's
No
into the
doubts.
precipice.
ESPN has Mahomes 1, Burrow 2, Allen 3, Lamar 4.
Okay, so that's your top 4. right.
PFF has Mahomes 1, Lamar 2, Burrow 3, Allen 4.
Okay, so it's the consensus
Top 4.
Yeah.
top 4.
All right, I'm going to go for number 5 now.
Number 5.
I think they're going to go. I think it's going to be Dak.
Is it the other people I'm considering here are Herbert, and Stroud. That might be a little too high for Stroud, but he's going to come. Like
I think Stroud will be in this list.
he's going to be in
next
the
year.
top 10. I bet he's in the top 10 of this list now. But I'm going to go. So you went Herbert 5
Or Dak.
or Dak 5? Dak 5. I'll go Hurts 5.
I can tell you PFF has Justin Herbert number 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
ESPN at number 5, Matthew Stafford.
That's a bit aggressive.
NFL coaches, general
Love him.
managers, and players love him.
Love him.
Love him. Now,
Stafford is number 7 on the PFF list.
Okay. Herbert 6.
Stafford was really good last year
Dak 6.
with no
Very
Cup.
good.
Got to go in with Nakua.
Nakua, yeah.
Yeah.
Herbert is 6th on the ESPN one.
He's so good.
Dak Prescott is 6th on the PFF.
Okay.
Okay.
Dak 7.
Herbert needs to take advantage of Jim Harbaugh
Yes.
now.
Yes.
He needs to get to the postseason.
I need
He's
Jim
gotta
Harbaugh
go.
to take advantage
What
of
has
him.
Herbert played in one postseason game?
Yeah. And
That
they
gave
were
up
like
the
an
blue
800
when Al
point
Michaels
lead.
was asleep with Tony Dungy.
Yeah.
I love Al, but they were
on that Saturday
That was
night.
Al's
one-
my
that was
guy.
One of the worst
one of the worst calls of a game ever.
ever.
They
Probably
checked
cost
out.
him the following year because NBC took him off the playoff game.
Well, didn't they bring him in?
He had an agreement that he would do the playoff game, and they went with Noah Eagle.
Yeah. I mean, but I think some of that was Dungy too, because Dungy was a zonk,
Awful.
just an absolute zonk.
Number 7, gentlemen.
7 for ESPN.
Yeah, I mentioned PFF had Stafford at 7.
Okay. Well, that feels like a Dak spot, right? 7 for ESPN.
Yeah, I like that.
C.J. Stroud.
Oh man, there it is.
I mean, Dak completed 70% of his passes, led the league in passing touchdowns, and I think he had like a 30. Let's see. It was a pretty outrageous. Dak Prescott last year threw for 4,500 yards, 69.5% completions, which was number 1, 36 touchdowns, which was number 1, 9 picks, and a quarterback rating of 105.9, which was also number 1.
Dak has a little of there. I think Herbert and Dak are kind of in similar spots. Where now Dak's won a lot more than Herbert.
Okay.
I mean, his teams have won the divisions. He's got some of that, but like they need to do something in the postseason. You need to have a little run.
Yeah.
And they just haven't had that. And usually, I mean, Herbert just has the one game, and Dak in the postseason has fallen on his face a lot.
Yeah. True.
All right, both publications have the same at number 8.
That's got to be the Hurts spot then, right? Is that Jalen Hurts?
I was going to say Rodgers.
What do you do with him coming off the injury?
Aaron Rodgers is number 8.
So Dak Prescott is 9?
Dak Prescott is number 10
Is number 10.
in the ESPN poll.
So that means
Jalen Hurts is
is not
not
gonna- I don't think he's
in
gonna
the
be
Not
top
on it.
10.
He wasn't on it then.
I think
Okay.
it's gonna be Brock Purdy or Jared Goff.
Purdy should be on these lists.
He absolutely should be on the list. So should Jared Goff, honestly.
Jared Goff is number 9 on the ESPN list.
I knew it had to be one
Brock
of those
Purdy
two.
is not in the top 10.
All right, so we need 9 and 10 from PFF.
Yes.
They got to have Purdy. They love Purdy.
No.
Really?
Wow.
No.
I can't believe Purdy's not in the top 10.
Jalen Hurts is number 9.
Oh, I thought you said Hurts wasn't on the list.
Not
He's
on the ESPN list.
Oh.
This is PFF.
And C.J. Stroud was number 10 to round out PFF. Now, PFF also has their entire 32.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy was 13. They listed Jordan Love at 11 and Trevor Lawrence at 12
And then Purdy.
ahead of Purdy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Tua is 14. Kirk Cousins was 15.
Wow.
Number 16 on PFF was Goff.
I mean, Goff, I feel like that's a little bit of.
Yeah. Kyler Murray was
Disrespect.
17. Yes.
Give me Gibbe, or I'll invite anybody. Give me a guess the stats on Jared Goff last year. And remember, this is a team that won their division, that went to the NFC Championship game, and quite frankly, with some maybe better decision making, goes to the Super Bowl.
I'm going to say 66% completion,
67.3.
4,300 yards,
45-75, second in the NFL.
and I'd say a 3-1 touchdown to interception.
30-12.
Pretty good
I
job.
mean, that's pretty good. Yeah, well, you're very good at this. Much better than Gibbe.
I knew he was great.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's like
He's honest to God. He's one of the most disrespected players we've seen in the last decade.
he's become like the Miz.
Well,
of
yeah,
the
what's his
NFL.
face?
Crazy.
McVay tossed him in the
Underappreciated.
trash.
Crazy.
Yeah,
Like,
just underappreciated.
look, I think that because McVay did the deal, I think it's like this big shadow over Goff. And the reality is that McVay viewed it as it's unfair to compare him to Stafford is my issue.
Yes.
That Stafford at his best is a top 5 quarterback in the league. When he's healthy and when he's at his best, that's what he is. He's that type of talent, that type of arm talent, that type of toughness, all those things, leadership, all the intangible stuff Stafford has. So comparing Goff to him is the problem. So that puts Goff in a tough spot. But the dude has won everywhere he's been. He's played in a Super Bowl. He got the Lions to the precipice of a Super Bowl.
Yes.
He was great in the NFC Championship game.
Yes.
So, I think he's wildly disrespected.
All right, here's another. Purdy not being in the top 10. And, yeah, maybe Kyle's good, but Garoppolo never did this. Purdy last year, 4,280 yards, 9.6 yards per attempt, okay?
Jeez.
9.6. Any guesses as to what second place?
I'd be shocked if anyone else was in the 9s. I would think it would be in the 8s.
8.5.
Second amongst, I'm looking at the passing leaders of the league, so people that are actually playing quarterback on the first page, which goes all the way down to Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow actually had fewer passing yards last year than both Kirk Cousins, Josh Dobbs. He actually had fewer passing yards last year than Desmond Ridder. He had 500 fewer passing yards last year than Desmond Ridder on 20 fewer attempts. Go ahead and wrap your brain around that.
Wow. He played 10 games.
Yeah, but I mean, Ridder.
Yeah, Ritter
We're talking 20 passing attempts for 500 yards
Yeah,
more.
it's wild.
So Brock Purdy averaged 9.6 yards per attempt. Second in the league was Tua, 8.3. Third was C.J. Stroud, 8.2. So we're talking a yard and a half per attempt that he was better. 69.4% completion, second only to Dak. 31 touchdowns on the year, which put him third in the league. 11 picks. Quarterback rating actually had it wrong on Dak's 105.9 because Purdy didn't get a dash. He's at 113. Here's the other one. Brock Purdy led the NFL with 72 completions of more than 20 yards. Brock Purdy led the NFL with 14 completions of more than 40 yards.
Mr. Bishop
Bo.
in the front row.
What if Brock Purdy were Trey Lance?
What if Brock Purdy
So
were Trey Lance?
second pick in the draft and
Yes, he
done
would be-
all of this.
he would be-
He would be anointed. He would be the next great.
He'd be
would
third on this team, on this list.
Yes.
Top
But
three.
because of he is pulled back by where he was drafted and because of the way he looks. He looks like a kid
Well, have
around
you-
the block.
Have you watched the receiver at all?
Have you watched
no,
it yet?
I have not.
Okay.
No.
He comes off as like where Brady and these guys come off as the stars of their team. He comes off as the little kid that's happy to be there, but he's a baller. I mean,
That's what I mean. Like,
every throw's right on the money.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if he were Lance and he was drafted second overall, we would be talking about him as an MVP. He probably could have been top 3 in the MVP, like all of those things.
What's crazy is
he's being held back by his draft where he was drafted.
Them not winning, like, for example, they win this Super Bowl, I think it's a completely different conversation maybe for him, because he's, from a production standpoint, vastly outdone what Brady did early in his career. I mean, it's a different league. I know that, but I'm saying relative to his peers even.
Yes.
You know what I mean? He is, it's not like they're hiding him. He threw it 579, he threw it a ton last year. He actually threw it 444 times and threw for 4,280 yards. Like, that is crazy.
Through 25 games.
Mahomes had 100 fewer yards and threw the ball 150 times more.
Yeah. And it can't all be Kyle's a genius.
No, it can't be.
And he is, but it can't all be that. 25 starts, 25 games played, 56-54, 68.7 completions, 44 touchdowns, 15 picks, 9.2 an attempt.
9.2.
A rating of 111.4.
What's his record?
25 starts.
20-5. 21-4.
I don't have that up in front of me.
Hold on.
That'd be the PFF or the.
I got a Pro Football Reference.
Pro Football Reference would have that.
I'm guessing. I don't think he has more than. That's regular season. You're talking.
Yeah.
I don't think he has more than 5 losses because he didn't
20-5.
He didn't lose in the regular season last year, or 2 years ago. I'm sorry. All right, Brock Purdy is 21. I guess it's 21 starts. 25 games, 21 starts, 17-4 as a starter all time, 4-2 in the playoffs. Playoffs completion percentage drops a little bit, 62.6, 6 touchdowns, only 1 pick, quarterback rating of 97 in the playoffs, 8 yards an attempt.
Really good.
17-4.
Yeah, really, really good.
Where
was our guy, by the way?
Huh?
Where's Deshaun on the PFF?
They don't even rank him.
Look, you want some bulletin board material for our guy? Not that he doesn't need it, or not that he needs it, I should say.
Yes.
Kyler Murray, 17. Geno Smith, 18. Caleb Williams, 19.
Come on.
Baker Mayfield, 20. Derek Carr, 21. Russell Wilson, 22. Deshaun, 23. Put that up on the bulletin board.
Well,
I get it. He's got to show.
Go do
but
it.
Come on, Derek Carr. Come
it's all
on.
there. It's all there. Go do it. Get healthy and do it, and you shut people up with your play pretty quickly.
Yep.
On that side of things. All right, coming up next, we'll continue with our position previews heading into camp. We are in the linebacker room coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. As everyone got to New Orleans for a Browns game, True Fan Travel, official fan experience partner of your Cleveland Browns, hosting premium trip packages for Browns fans. Oh, yeah, you're going to meet and hang out with Browns legend Kevin Mack. Visit truefantravel.com to reserve your ultimate Browns package today. The Vegas ones must be gone. Scooped those up because we were doing Vegas and New Orleans. Now we're just doing New Orleans.
That's right. And listen, I sold Vegas. You got to sell the Big Easy. That's your place.
I think it is a city that is whatever you want it to be. You want a little bit of romance,
except for clean.
Well, it is. You go to Garden District, you're all right. You're safe there.
All right.
I think I think there's certain places. Depends on your definition of clean. That's not really helping with us trying to sell this, by the way.
Well, it's not clean because people are having too good of a time.
Too damn good a time.
Too damn good of a time.
It is a place where you can go with buddies. It's a place you can go with significant others. It is not a place for families. But everything else in between, it checks off the list in a very, very big way. And you will eat
Food,
as good
fun,
as you can
frivolity.
eat. Yeah, great music.
Oldest
you
bar in the
stumble
United
into
States.
Stuff.
We came across
that
being true.
Yeah, you stumble into places there that we did. I remember this was right around. I was down there for a national championship once, and it was buzzing everywhere. And we had gone to dinner at, was it Bouchon? I think, I can't remember. Anyway, we come around and we stumbled into a place, and there was kind of a decent crowd, a little bit of buzz, and like Trombone Shorty was playing, and you're like, that's just something that only happens there. There's places where that happens, and it's there. I think it's a really cool city. I like it a lot. I think it's like a lot like Vegas. You can gamble.
Totally.
You can do all that stuff, all the fun and frivolity. It's a 48-hour, 2-night, 3 days at best. Fly in on Friday night, Saturday night,
3 nights.
Sunday, get out. Or fly in Saturday, Saturday night, Sunday night, out Monday. 2 nights is your limit. Anything other than that, it gets loose. But you'll have fun. I promise you that. All right, time for a position preview. We are in the linebacker room, and for some details, we now go to Dr. Z.
I think this is a room where you've got a lot of continuity, but for the first time in a while, you actually have a little bit of change. And continuity in the sense that it's Jason Tarver once again, continuity in the sense that JOK is back, Tony Fields is back, Mahmoud Diabate is back. But you also have a big change, and that is the change of no more Anthony Walker Jr., no more Sione Takitaki. Two guys who, unfortunately, have battled injuries, but were very much kind of like heart and soul type guys on the defense, leaders there. But what the Browns did is they go out and they replace them with Jordan Hicks. And Jordan Hicks and Devin Bush, I would say. But Jordan Hicks is going to be the starting Mike linebacker for the Browns. This is a guy who was a Super Bowl champion with Jim Schwartz in Philly in 2017. Let me just run you through his last 5 seasons in the league and see if any of this sounds appealing to anybody here. 2019, 3 picks, 6 passes defense, 2 forced fumbles, 1.5 sacks, 150 tackles, 11 tackles for loss. 2020, also in Arizona, 1 pick, 4 passes defense, 118 tackles, 11 tackles for loss. 21 in Arizona. He had 5 passes defense. He had 2 fumble recoveries, 4 sacks, 116 tackles, 7 tackles for loss. 2 years ago in Minnesota, in 17 games, he had a pick. He had as well 10 passes defense. One of the better cover drop linebackers in the league. A forced fumble, 3 sacks, 130 tackles. Last year in just 13 games, he had an interception, 5 passes defense, a forced fumble, 2 fumble recoveries, including a touchdown, a sack, 107 tackles, 4 tackles for loss. So 5 straight seasons, over 100 tackles. He's been a captain everywhere he's gone. He's one of the guys, he's elite in coverage, as I talked about in the last 5 seasons. He's got 6 picks, and he has got, 30 passes defense. So this is a very, very good player against the run, sure tackler. He can blitz a little bit. He had a couple seasons, 3 seasons with 3 or more sacks, and then he is great in coverage. And he gives us that true 3-down, every single play linebacker, which is not something that we've really had in that Mike spot, where I'm talking about a guy that is going to play 90 to 100% of the snaps. And that's what you're getting in Jordan Hicks. So you've got Hicks, you've got JOK, Pro Bowler last year, megastar in the making, and I'd say he already is a megastar. 100 tackles last year, 20 tackles for loss, the only player in the league to hit that dual threshold. According to Pro Football Reference, it's 101 tackles, 20 tackles for loss. He also had 3.5 sacks, 2 picks, 6 passes defense, and a forced fumble. 20 tackles for loss, 3rd in the NFL. The only player off ball who had 20 or more. It was 2 defense. I think it was Danielle Hunter and Max Crosby that were ahead of him. The only players who have ever had the kind of numbers he had last year at the linebacker position since 2010 was Luke Kuechly 1 year and Devin White 1 year. Who's the other linebacker there?
Levante David.
Levante David 1 year. Yes, I knew it was Tampa linebacker. Levante David. I mean, we're talking
All-time
rarefied
dudes,
air that JOK was operating in. And so we're going to be in 2 linebackers more often than not. When you get into 3 linebackers, Devin Bush has joined the Cleveland Browns, former first-round pick out of Michigan of the Pittsburgh Steelers. You've got Diabate, an undrafted free agent a year ago. Tony Fields, who's just played better and better every year that he's been with the Cleveland Browns, and actually had his best season of his career last year, 34 tackles. He scored a touchdown again because all he does, the guy scores touchdowns every year. He had the fumble recovery in Indy. He had the touchdown on the pick 6 in Houston the year before. So he's there. You drafted Nathaniel Watson, which 6'2", 235, was the SEC's Defensive Player of the Year. The SEC's Defensive Player of the Year.
That's a good conference.
Quite a good conference. So you like maybe what he can do, and then you've got some other guys, Charlie Thomas, Caleb Johnson, and Winston Reed, battling to kind of stay in the program. My guess, 5 linebackers make the roster, maybe 6. But we talked about the numbers are going to be tough to come by, and they may opt to go with 5 linebackers and have a few on the practice squad. So that'll be interesting to see how it shakes out there. But JOK, Hicks, Tony Fields, Bush, probably the top 4 favorites. Watson, Diabate, Charlie Thomas, Caleb Johnson, Winston Reed probably competing for 1 or 2 spots.
Yeah, I was trying to think how I guess he's just a thumper is probably why. But the idea that Nathaniel Watson falls to the 6th round and he's just a tackling machine.
I think he's probably a 2-down player.
Yeah, 6'2", 245, so that's...
And he can blitz. What do you have? Didn't he have like 10 sacks last year? He had a lot of sacks as well. He was very productive.
Huh. Yeah, it's interesting. That type of production in that conference is real. That's a real one for sure. How do you make sense of how little postseason recognition JOK got?
I mean, he made the Pro Bowl and was miscategorized, so he made it kind of as an edge rusher, which shows how good they thought he was, that he needed to be in there. I don't think that he's getting as much buzz going into this year maybe as he should, but there's no doubt anybody who watched the game in Houston, he was the best player on the field in a game in which the Browns were obviously beaten, but he was the best player on the field. By the way, Nathaniel Watson in 2022, 113 tackles, 12 tackles for loss, 6 sacks, and a pick. 2023, 137 tackles, 13 tackles for loss, 10 sacks, and a pick. I mean, that's pretty darn good. It's
a lot of production in a great league.
Yeah.
That is a ton of it. And I'm not suggesting that
there's got to be something with his athletic profile, stiff hips.
Probably, but sometimes you can just play. Yeah. I'm not suggesting that he's going to be the type of pick that MJ Emerson was.
No.
But Emerson had some of that coming out of Mississippi State where you're like, why did he get not drafted higher? And then when he came in here, we're like, I remember the very first training camp practice for him, like when we saw him run out there, we're like, who in the hell is that? Yeah. Like that guy's got a look to him. And I'm curious to see if Watson has a similar, not suggesting that type of ascent. I'm just saying, like,
no, but if
sometimes people get missed.
Yes. If he can turn into Sione Takitaki or even Mac Wilson, who's had a very nice career that is still ongoing and signed a big deal this offseason with Arizona, that would be a great draft pick right there at that point.
We had Devin Bush in here about a month ago, month and a half ago maybe. About as easy a guy to root for as you're going to find.
Yep.
Incredibly likable. I think people forget because he's been in the league since 19. He's just 25.
And he tore his ACL was against us, I want to say, week 5 of 2020 in that Steelers blowout. Because rookie year, he had, Craig, are you looking at stats right now?
I'm going to pull it up.
He had 100 tackles, I think, as a rookie. And that was a guy when they moved up to get him, nobody wanted him. Not the biggest linebacker. He's kind of the opposite of Nathaniel Watson, but absolutely the guy can run and he can make plays. So
he had 109 tackles. His rookie season, he was 3rd in the Defensive Rookie of the Year balloting.
Right.
9 tackles for loss that year. 2 interceptions that year. He was a ball hawk, had a sack. And then he gets hurt in year 2.
Yep.
And then he's just never quite been the same from a production standpoint.
Yep.
But if the fact that he's still just 25, 26, leads you to believe that potentially there's a little bit of something
He's a
there.
stud. I mean,
Total stud.
Stud, yeah. So I like the room. Obviously, we love the coach. They're going to fly around to the ball, and I think your base is your nickel. So Hicks and JOK, that's a darn good tandem. And talking to a lot of people around here, they think JOK is going to be even better, benefit from playing next to Hicks and become even better because Hicks is just so smart, especially with this defense.
I don't think I was here the day that Hicks came. Didn't Hicks come up here for an interview? I think you did the interview with him, but was it live on the show? Like I don't remember.
I did one with him downstairs. I don't know if we interviewed him in here.
We did not interview him in here yet.
I remember listening to it, whether I was here or on the road. I remember listening to the interview, being like, "Whoa!"
Yeah,
and he's an Ohioan.
Total
Yep.
leader.
He's
dude.
a Kettering Alter kid. He went to Texas.
Yep.
He was a 5-star linebacker and got out of town. And one of those guys who I've always kept up with him. It's one of those kids you hear his name in recruiting, and you're just curious to see how it goes. So, but everything you've always heard from him was leadership, like in spades.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's a nice room with a superstar in the midst with JOK. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Back in Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. Are you at all prepared for NFL players here next week at this time?
No. In fact, I can't. Where did June and July go?
Well, mine was spent in flyover states, because I'll be in Indianapolis this weekend too. So that's where mine was. But
Yeah.
no, I don't know.
We knew it though. We called it. We had the.
I knew it.
We
You knew
felt
it, I
it
knew it.
early June. We're like, this is going to be gone, and
I
it
do
is
think
gone.
it feels like, I'm sure it's the same time, but it feels like this is inching up sooner,
Yes.
year in and year out. I feel
Yes.
like my first year here, and even my first training camp here, it felt like it was like August, let's go.
Yes.
But this is like July 20th.
Third week of July. Yeah. Not even last week. I think it used to be last week of
Okay,
July.
July 27th, 28th, fine, I'll deal
Yeah.
with it. But like, man,
Oh, baby. Yeah, we're rolling.
quarterbacks and rookies here on Monday.
It's wild. It's wild. By the way, Paulus.
Yeah.
I want to say thanks for coming out on Saturday, dude.
Appreciate it. You were fantastic. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, man. No, it was awesome. I saw on his socials that he was in the house.
That's
So I was
awesome.
like, oh man, that's really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So I
very,
just
very
want to say
cool.
thank you.
In fact, the Hall of Fame game teams are reporting tomorrow.
Some teams have already reported.
The Bears do not have Caleb Williams or Rome Odunze signed,
Really?
unless it just happened.
They may have signed
Odunze
Rome.
signed
Yeah,
during
I
the
just
show.
saw it.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
So he
yeah.
signed during the
He's
show.
in, but Caleb not
Caleb
yet.
Williams is not signed. What are we doing?
I thought we alleviated this.
First of all,
with
these
the
things are
rookie
slotted.
salary
Slotted.
cap.
So the problem with Williams is he doesn't have NFLPA
2
representation.
minutes.
So
Oh, we're
because
going
of
down
that-
this road again?
Yeah, he doesn't have NFLPA approved representation. So I mean, get the agent to the stars on the horn. Let's go, paratroop in.
Yeah.
And Simze.
And while you're at it, give me
But-
some merch.
No, we'll wait for that
we'll
for a
wait.
long time. We're still on the wait for that. But so because of that, because it's the intricate stuff that only an agent would be easy at handling, such as like when can the guaranteed money be canceled? When do you want your guaranteed money? Like all of those things, they're having to work out. He has lawyers, but he doesn't have an NFLPA certified agent. So away they go.
They'll get that taken care of.
You would think.
I'm not concerned
Like-
about that. Yeah.
Stop screwing around.
Yeah. He's already been named the starting quarterback.
Yeah. So they get a Dunze in, so that'll alleviate some of that. So you are going on vacation. Enjoy yourself.
Thank you, man. And then I'm back.
And then you're back
starting
and then-
Monday, and then that's it.
That's it. You're done. You're done.
No more
You'll be-
re-
well,
yeah.
you got that vacation in West Virginia to look forward to. That'll be a nice vacation. A place. I mean, it's America's playground, America's resort. All sorts of.
I mean,
private
he
golf
does do a
courses.
fine job of doing that.
Do you want to get in the ring
Hold
with
on.
me, brother? Is that what you're trying to do right now?
Zagura does a fine job of
Gibby-
enjoying himself
Gibby
at
has,
the Greenbrier.
Gibby, God bless him, has been working his tail off. He's got something on the computer. I put a ball on a real high tee about you going on vacation to the Greenbrier. He flipped around. It was the fastest spin to a mic I've ever seen. He was so ready.
It's an outrageous accusation.
outrageous.
Okay,
I
hold
had-
on.
I had
We don't have any
over-
time.
hold on.
We don't have any
Gotta
time.
go, guys,
We gotta go. We gotta go.
Yeah,
I'm
no
sorry.
time.
Next level's
No time.
next.
Hater.
Cleveland
Over under
Browns
rounds
Daily.
played 5.
850 ESPN Cleveland.